Okay, so for the review for the final, the first request that I had for a review problem was to do a 941. So what I've put up on the smart board is a monthly payroll register. We are in the third quarter of the year. And what else do you need to know? They're a monthly depositor, and they've made all of their deposits on time. The name of the company is Home Restoration. They're at 11 Humboldt Street in Missoula, 59801. And their EIN is as follows. Okay, really, you have everything you need here to do a 941. So this is going to be a super exciting lecture because now we're going to have 10 minutes of dead space. Am I? That's a 9. or some Arabic number. Okay. So, yeah, I don't think, oh, you gave me a 941. We're doing a 940. Are we doing a 941 or a 940? Oh, 941. 941, yeah. That's what I thought. Okay, but he gave me a 947. Okay, so you're preparing, for those of you that are listening, you're preparing a 941. And certainly go ahead and ask questions. I mean, that's what we're trying to do. But I mean, so 2 employees, I've given you gross, FICA, FIT-SIT, health insurance premiums, and net paycheck. It's the third quarter. They deposit monthly. They've always deposited on time. The name of the company is down here in their EIN. And really now I'm just going to give you dead space and some time to prepare it. I'm going to go check that supplemental number right this minute. Okay, go ahead.
You multiply to get line 2, are you multiplying by the number of quarters? Oh,
Can you repeat what line 2 said?
Wages, tips, and other compensation.
Right. So is that gross or net? It is indeed gross. And so how many times a quarter is a payroll register run? Yep.
So 15,000 times.
Not that.
Not that?
No, that's it.
Oh, that's it.
Yep.
That's it?
Yep.
Oh, I thought you had to multiply.
Oh, well, you do. Yeah, I said how many times does this payroll run in a quarter?
So you take 15,000 times, we're in the third, so
It doesn't matter which quarter we're in. It matters how many times. Yeah. I take that back. It doesn't matter what quarter we're in. It does matter what quarter we're in. What do you have to watch? Yeah, I gotta make sure nobody caps.
so line 2 would be all that. They didn't, I'm like, oh, okay. So you just go off of whatever quarter you're in. If you're in fourth quarter, you multiply by
What is a quarter? Like in the time frame of life? Like a year's 12 months. What is a quarter?
like January, February, March.
Right. So how many months is in a quarter? Doesn't matter what quarter you're in.
So you're always multiplying by 3 no matter what.
Well, what if I told you this was a weekly payroll register? Right, or 13. I would have to tell you if it was weekly, because there's 2 quarters a year, there's 13. What if it was semi-monthly? But you're right, there's 26 in a year.
Oh,
No, that's semi-monthly is 24 in a year. Let me ask this again. If it's a monthly payroll register, what do you multiply by? 3. Yes. It's a semi-monthly payroll register, what do you multiply by?
so are you multiplying, so you take 26, divide by
Just
4.
tell me how many times, if this is semi-monthly, how many times would I be running payroll in a quarter? No. If I said it was weekly, how many times would you be running payroll in a quarter? Weekly. In a quarter. 12 or 13. If it was bi-weekly, it would be either 6 or 7. I can tell you I'm not going to do weekly or bi-weekly.
So
And on the test, I didn't make you multiply by anything. I gave you the quarterly numbers.
that's where I went wrong.
But you have to think about, do I need to convert? And if so, how?
Okay.
So if this said quarterly, there's no conversion because I've given you the quarter numbers. So if it's anything other than quarterly, you have to go through the process. How many times did I run the payroll in the quarter?
So that quarter gross wages was $45,000.
Yep. And it was a good thing I checked that supplemental because I had the old percentage in the key. Yeah, so for those of you that are listening in, Klaus asked about the supplemental rate for grossing up or withholding SIT on a Montana supplemental check. I had used the number 3% in my lectures, but then when we got to the actual Montana Department of Revenue documents, the number is 6%, and that's the correct number, and that's the number that we're going to be using for any supplemental bonuses or grossing up or anything like that for state income tax in Montana. What does line 3 ask for?
Your FICA.
No, I think line 3 asks for fit, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, sorry, your fit.
So how do you get that number?
So you fit on the chart.
Mm-hmm.
So 1,500 times, yeah, times 3.
Yep.
Then that's 4,500.
Yep.
And then you take your 45,000, you plug it into 5A.
You do, and the only thing you need to make sure that you understand is that's only if nobody's capped for OASDI. So FICA's 2 taxes, right? OASDI and HI. HI doesn't cap, so I think you're pretty safe taking that 45,000 straight down to whatever that minus 5B or something, C or D. The 5A, you got to check.
They won't cap till the final. You'll get
Right, so I'm making
120,
10 grand a month.
120.
So I make 70, 80, and 90 the third quarter, so I'm sure you're safe, so nobody caps.
So if you did cap, there would be a disparity.
There'd be a difference between line 2 and 5A.
Anywhere
Exactly.
between line 2 and 5, they were that disparity. And if so, where?
Oh, no, you don't put the disparity, you just put the proper number of 5A to multiply across.
So say you cap.
Yeah. I'll just, I don't know. I'm not gonna give you a 401K, and the odds of you ever being in charge of this, you're gonna have a stellar career, but it's probably not gonna be doing this. So, let's just like get through the very easiest one there is. I'm not gonna try and do anything tricky, but yes, you would have if somebody capped. We did that on the project. No. It would have, in that it was pre-tax, but that went into this calculation in the software.
And the HSA would be,
Same thing, pre-fit and pre-sip, but you don't have to do anything with it here because that's already been factored in. Okay, couple more minutes and then I'll put up the line numbers of what I think they should all say.
So then when you're figuring out our monthly,
Right?
uh,
Okay, so first off is do you have to do the schedule on the back?
not over.
Is it over the number? Oh, it would be, sure it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you do have to do the schedule on the back. Now, here's the second thing. So the question is, for those of you that are listening, okay, great, I got the front page done. So really quickly, I think the number that you would come up to, 15,000.153 equals 2295 plus 4,500. So I think your total taxes came up to 6795. Is that what you guys got? No. Oh, no, I forgot to multiply by 3. Plus, 4,500. How does 7942.50 sound?
I don't know. That's not what I got.
Okay.
I got,
What's
I got
that?
line 5B, I got 6885.
Yep.
So line 6, I got 11385.
Okay, so line 2 would be 45,000.
92.
4,500, right?
Line 3, right.
And then line 5A, you put the same 45,000.
Right, minus 0.124. Then I got 5580.
Yeah.
Yeah, line 5C, 45 grand, 2.29, getting 1305.
Yep.
I just did it times 12. I just made sure.
Then you take that times 2, right?
No, that is times 2 because 2.9 is both shares and 12.4 is both shares.
There we go.
So it's already been, right?
6885 is what I
goes down to 10 is, and then 11 is what you paid, 12 is what's due, right?
Balance sheet, like line 10, 11,385.
And then what have you deposited, 11,385, so what's due, nothing. Right? Is that correct, 12? It's balance due.
Balance due.
Okay, so let's just make sure everybody's here so far. So just to point out, if you're listening to this fascinating tape, this number came from the growth of 15,000 times 3. I multiplied it by 3 because it's a monthly payroll. Same thing here. The FIT was multiplied by 3, but if it had done on a quarterly basis, I would have just directly transposed the numbers. This 5A and 5C can be different numbers than line 2. They can be. Here, if somebody's capped, it's going to be different. Here, it's going to be different from line 2 if you have some things that are only pre-fit and preset, like HSAs or 401ks or HSAs or 401ks. But I'm going to assure you that I'm not going to do that on the test. We did a pretty complicated one for our computerized payroll project, and that was torturous getting me. So I'm not going to do that for you on the test. Then you just multiply. They tell you right on the form what to multiply by. And these numbers right here should look pretty darn familiar because that's both shares of OASDI, 6.2 plus 6.2, right? Both shares, 0.0145 plus 0.0145. So here's my both shares of Social Security. Here's both shares of OASDI, or I'm sorry, HI. So that's both shares of FICA. And then this guy is my total FICA, FIT, right? And I told you that they've made all their deposits. Okay, so then this just carries down there. We don't do that adjustment section, do we? And then I told you they've made all their deposits, so now they owe nothing, right? Flip the page, make sure to write the name on the top of the second page, and I think the EIN again, right? And then you've got to do that little, well, you've got to read the top, and it tells you if you're accelerated, you've got to fill out, I think, like a Schedule B or something. And if you're monthly, and it's over 2,500, then you've got to do that little schedule. So we do have to do the little schedule. They're monthly.
And that will be 11,385 divided by 3.
Yeah. So what we did that was a little different in the computerized project is the payrolls weren't the same. So we had to go back and reconstruct each month by looking at each payroll. In this case, which is just too easy, yeah, this number is the total for the quarter, and they got paid the same amount every month. Obviously, you can just divide by 3. But that's not how you would normally do it. You would go and reconstruct it because normally payrolls aren't the same, unless you've just got a couple salary people like this.
Will payroll numbers be identical to the quarters on file?
I'm not even telling you you got one of these on the final. You also have to think, I'm asking you to do an awful lot of stuff in 2 hours. So, am I going to give you something that's going to eat up a half an hour? You know, realistically. What's the number?
3795.
And then they tell you, I believe, 11,385.
11,385.
They tell you, and make sure, they said this has to equal line 10. Right? So that's how you check that. Want a couple more minutes? Okay. What do you want to look at next?
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay,
Go ahead. Did you want to ask something?
flex is never included in can you break that out exactly which ones are and which ones
Sure.
aren't?
So the question is, what is pre-tax for what? Pre-tax. Flex? Sorry. I was still cleaning all morning. I just noticed I still got everything else in my teeth. teaching, sorry. Flex is not taxable for anything. No ASDI, no HI, no FIT, no SIP. It actually doesn't even show up on your W-2 because there's nowhere to put it. Straight off the top. Right, the flex plan goes called the section 125, and it's used to pay pre-tax, dependent care, and health care. That's one that I was showing you. You can save so much money on your daycare bills. And if you want to sell your employer on it, they don't have to match the FICA. So it's a win-win. So it costs them some money to set up the program. They got to pay like $2 an employee a month to maintain it, but they always have the money. Okay, 401k, no FIT, no SIP. Anything like that. 401k, 403b, simple. Yeah, I'm just thinking pension right now. Those are there's other kinds of pensions, POs, and retirement funds. Free FIT, free SIP. Health savings accounts. There's another thing there's so many things here. It boggles the mind. MSAs? Yeah, there's HSAs, TSAs, and MSAs, which are all savings accounts that are pre-tax. Medical savings account, health savings account, and transportation savings account. Those are all pre-FIT, pre-SIP. You get up to $200 a month if you are in a designated urban area and you use mass transit. You can put away $200 a month. Like my kid in DC spends $150 a month on a Metro pass. Pre-tax. On the Metro, yeah? Yeah. So just to encourage, it's highly desirable, you know? Yeah. Oh, yeah, well, that's all over the place.
If you're gonna spend it, you might as well, you know you're gonna use it, you might as well put it in there.
Heck yeah. Or your employer, like my son in San Francisco, they fund his TSA. They don't want him having to drive because he gets locked up in traffic. He doesn't get to a job site on time. They want him on the barge because they know he's going to get where he's going on a timely basis. Anyways, okay. Yeah, it is social engineering through tax code. Most of it is. A lot less about revenue generation, a lot more about crafting behaviors. Sticks and carrots. Same conversation we had about the carbon. Okay, what else? Oh, gross up?
So
Did somebody say gross up?
401k and health savings are the only ones not subject to FIT or SIP.
Right. And yeah, 403Bs and simples and anything like that. Yep.
Those are the only three.
Flex is the only thing you don't pay FICA on. That's really all you need to remember. Okay, gross up. I got 2 people. And I'm going to tell you what they made before end of year bonus. This will look a lot like the one that we did for that payroll practice problem number 3. So we got 2 people. They work in Bozeman. And Sahesh and Juliana, international district. Okay, and Sahesh has made $193,000 before today, and Juliana has made $90,000 before today. And they're partners in that. They're shareholders in an S corp. This happens all the time. You look at your P&L and your cash flow at the end of the year, and you say, "Oh, how much money do we want to pull out?" And usually, if you own the company, you don't care about all that taxy stuff. You just know I want 20 grand in my hand, right? Okay. So Sahesh wants 20 grand in his hand, and Juliana makes a little bit less than him. So I'm not going to do the actual math, but let's say her take-home bonus is going to be $8,500. So you need to do a couple things. You need to run their paychecks and then make the deposit. Twofold process. I want you to run their checks, i.e. gross up, Huh? Yeah. It's frustrating.
So on this one, if they do the point,
Yes. Yep. Yep. Look at how much Salesh or Sahesh has made before today.
You don't have nothing.
Right. When you stop paying away SDI. Yeah. So she's gonna pay 38.65 in fact, he's gonna pay 32.45, right?
You will minus that.
You do, I'm saying that's what their tax rate, yeah, I'm just getting you started.
Sorry.
Oh, you're on track. Okay. Once you figure out the taxes, you can say 100% of the gross minus the tax bracket, or tax burden, is going to give how much is left for the net paycheck itself. And that is the factor that you use to gross it up. Okay, and he wanted 20,000. $20,000 divided by 0.6755. The key here, you guys, is the division. You don't multiply. You don't multiply. You divide. 20,000 is 67.55% of what number? You're solving for the X. And she wanted how much?
8,500.
8,500. Right? So that's their gross paychecks, and once you have that, you're just multiplying by all those rates.
And the adjustment from what we were doing in cities was 6 instead of 100.
Yeah, right. So to point out what might not be, if you're listening, hi Carlos, what might be not congruent with what you've heard the last 15 weeks is this guy. I originally gave you the numbers 3%. That's what I've used forever and a day. And then when we went to the Department of Revenue, I don't know, one of their publications, clear as day there, it says supplemental is 6% in Montana. So I don't know if that changed or if I've just been erroneously teaching it for, say, 25 years like that. But at any rate, it's 6, and that's correct, and that's what we're using. Okay, so, gross. probably 3 times as long manually if you're proficient on Excel. In fact, if I was coming into the test, I'd have it set up. I mean, you can bring in anything you want. Yeah. Yeah, get your tools set up. Hi. What's up? So yeah, get your tools set up for the exam. This would be one of them. You can use, the whole key is, you guys, the thing is here, and it's the same like in my income tax class that I teach, or like with financial ratios and capstone, nobody memorizes this shit. Why would you? You have a client come in, it's like, I think you're in the 39% bracket, but it could be 28. It's like you open up the resource and you look at it, right? And that's what you need to know what to do is, how do I use my tools? 859. And then, so I'm working over on Juliana's right now, so I'm subtracting all the taxes, and if I don't come down nice and neat, but I do, I come right down to 8,500. But if I hadn't come down nice and neat to 8,500, you might have to round like a penny or two from somebody, right? And so Sahesh pays $429.30. And I did just realize something, which I didn't mean to do. It's putting him over the 200,000. Which is not what I meant to do. So I mean, I'm going to go make a note of that. So just hold on a sec. Honestly, there's so much to this. I'm not looking to find weird, well, that's not weird, it's just a tax, but I'm not looking to find things to like trip you up on. What did I do? I'm off by like 41 cents. That doesn't make sense. Something's wrong here. Same thing is not. So is that all right? That's 32.67. 0.6755. 29607. 70. That's a 70. I gotta redo all these. But do you see how I saw I was wrong? Which is kind of one thing that's nice about a gross up. When I subtracted all these, I was off by 41 cents. That's way too much rounding. So I was like, oh, I've done something wrong. So then you've got to go back and check your numbers. Which I love stuff where you can see. Does anybody have these? I've got this one. Okay. 93? Yeah. Point. And that looks, I can see that comes down nice and neat too, right? Okay. Second part of the question was, so Carlos, you kind of came in late. Do you know what we're doing? Or? It is grossing up. That's good that you recognize it. And then what was different or tricky about it that you had to catch is this guy. So I gave you their year-to-date wages. He capped. So we didn't have to put OASDI in his calculation. Okay? But she had it. What I didn't mean to do, for anybody that's listening and for those of you that are sitting here, is I didn't mean to make Sahesh go over. Because that just blows this calculation all up, because part of it isn't taxable for the additional Medicare tax and part of it is. And I would never do that. Then you'd have to break it into 2 bonuses, and I mean, I just would never do that. So let's just for argument's sake, let's just change this, it would change nothing about the calculation other than the BOHU that he doesn't have any additional Medicare. I'm not telling you that you don't need to be aware that there's that 0.9%. That could come up in a plethora of other situations, but I wouldn't do it on this. That just makes this calculation hard for no reason. So then the second thing I asked you to do, so we just ran the checks, and then now we need to make the 941 deposit, which again, if I had Excel set up, I've just got my neat little total column, right, and I do my whatever this little guy looks like and pull it down, the sum, right, the auto sum, and it's going to sum up my OASDI and my HI and my FIT and my SIT, which I don't care about for a 941. Right, because it's a federal form. So I'm going to double whatever's over here for OESDI, double whatever's over here for HI, and then just take one FIT. Now, I could also ask you to do the MW1 rather than the 941. Why am I asking you to do that? What's that guy? Well, yeah, you'd think, but it isn't. It's your Montana SIT deposit.
State income tax.
Yep. That indeed it is. That would just be these guys, 1776.46 plus 831.30. Good questions. What else? Do you need some time to process this one, or? Can we do one? Oh, sure. Like figuring estimate and then getting even at the end of the year? Sure. So let's say trying to think of an interesting business. Oh, okay. Well, I was just at this conference, and this is sort of interesting. It's all part of how our climate's changing and all sorts of new technologies coming. In California, as y'all know, they had a big drought, and then this year they're 210% of snowpack, so they got a big flood. And that's the new normal climatically speaking. So there's a lot of new technologies that are being developed that they don't have yet, but they need to be able to capture the floodwaters because this drought and flood cycle is going to continue. So they got to be able to capture the floodwaters, harvest them, hold them, and release them during the period of the drought. Okay. So we heard from some different kind of innovative solutions to that. So let's say, just because that's the whole adaptation versus mitigation for climate change. So it's an interesting conversation. So let's say that I'm flood capture Inc. And I'll tell you, it's crazy some of the innovations they were talking about around electric vehicles, transportation, green energy. I mean, there's so much money to be made in this stuff. And they have, obviously, engineers. So they're starting up. They've got engineers, they've got R&D, guys and gals in the lab, and then they've got sales, and then they've got, business development, let's say. And that's like the CEO and CFO and COO all wrapped into one because it's a startup. So they estimate, and these guys are field engineers, right? So just for giggles, who do you think, based on this so field engineer meaning they're actually out looking on site, like at the technology development. Who's going to be rated, do you think, highest? Who do you think workers' comps, like in what order, 1, 2, 3, 4? Huh? The guy out in the boonies is definitely going to have the highest rating. Who's going to have the lowest?
They gotta go out.
These guys sit in a lab. These guys, they're not blowing anything up. What are they blowing up? We're not ammo developers.
They're watching water rise and fall.
Yeah, they're sitting in a lab. They're doing little prototypes and mini models and blah, blah, blah. Anybody that travels, that gets in a car for their job, gets higher rated. I would put these guys probably fairly even. He or she's probably too. His expectations are you travel a lot. And you're probably also out in the field. It's just putting you around big pools of fast-moving water is dangerous in and of itself, I would assume. You can also see, too, like if you're workers' comp in California, or really anywhere else other than Montana, because we don't have very much innovation going on here. I mean, we do, but just not at these levels. Can you imagine trying to rate all these new things that nobody's even ever, really heard of? So I'm starting my business. I estimated, these are California numbers, too, so my 2 field engineers, I'm going to have to pay $100,000 each to. And I've got 2 people in R&D. They're going to be, I don't know, 1.25 people probably.
So we just make these up.
No, I give you this. I'm making these up. Yeah.
Okay, well, for the homework, I did that, and I was like,
No, I gave you for the homework.
yeah, you have to go back to the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're not making this up. How would you make this up?
That's why
I'm just
I
making
don't
this up.
get this. Okay.
Sales, they're just starting out, 1 person. And then it's my business. I'm business development. So I'm living on a shoestring because I'm just starting my company. Yeah, you can't live on that, California. That's a shoestring. Okay. So these are my estimates. I think I'm starting my business on 6/1. So what happens with this? What do I do with these guys? These numbers?
To figure out how many of each.
I did.
Already in there. Those are totals.
That's total estimated gross. Right, how do I get those? I mean, I'm sitting here doing my business planning, I'm going to my
Fill out a
bankers.
form.
Yeah, I fill out the application, I send it in, right? And they send it back. And they give me my ratings. Yeah. Probably a little higher than that. 2.8 though. I have to give those to you too, but you need to know the process. That I get this from my business plan, and I do my application. Then I send it to them. They're probably, with new technology, they're gonna come back and ask a bunch of questions. Because I don't have a rating group for some of these things. And then they're gonna give me these numbers. So the first thing I need to know from you is what's my premium? Or I'm sorry, my deposit. What's my deposit based on this? I'm sorry?
Are there like, how many engineers?
Oh, no, but you don't need to know that. I'm gonna give you, well, I could do it like that. I think I did that on Tuesday, didn't I?
Yeah.
But this, I tell you, this is the total estimated.
You just take that times the rate, times the rate.
So I'm sorry, Carlos, go ahead. Right, so let's just do this. When I explained it to you on Tuesday, and this, I know better than this, I've been in the classroom 25 years. You don't explain 3 ways how to do something, you give 1. So what I said first is I said you divide by 100, multiply by this number, because that's what it says on the form to do. Okay, which is do that. That's fine, but that is the exact same thing as saying that this is all these numbers. So like for me, do I really want to divide by 100 and then multiply by that? No, I know how to put a percentage in my calculator.
So you just do
200,000 times 0.0721. Exact same thing as dividing by 100 and multiply by this number. That's what the form tells you to do. It's like when you go to software classes or like learning a new platform, and the guy wants to show you how brilliant he is, and he stands up there and goes, "There's 86 ways to accomplish this. You can Alt F6, or you can," and it's like, just show me one. Just show me one. Start there. I just hate that. So counterproductive. People will figure out how they want to use their keyboard on their own, or not. If you're a mouse person, right? Or if you're an Apple person, then you're talking a whole other language. So this is really super easy. It's just like when you run your calculator, really. And you add those up. And that's your deposit. So the only thing then, 14, 21, 24, is at the end, so my timeline is I'm starting my business, you know, in May of this year. So I send them about 24,000. That's a good number to know when you're doing a business plan. You know, that's a chunk of change. I wonder, you know, I don't really know this, but I mean, if I'm this person that's starting this business in, you know, north of the Sacramento Valley, I am calling work comp and getting like some feel for what these numbers are going to look like, because how else do you do your business plan, right? I mean, that's going to be that's a big overhead burden.
Some of the last ones,
Did I miss it? Old decimal place? Sorry. So, and I know that changes. That's the point, that's a point. I mean, it is the point. You obviously have to do it correct. But you put this on, and they hold on to it for a year, and it covers it. And let's say my business blew up. I had 6 field engineers and 3 salespeople. At the end here, then what do I do with workers' comp? So I did the application and I estimated, and now I got a year out there. What do I do? You have to file a payroll report. My payroll report shows what I actually did, and if my business blew up, you know, I probably could owe another $75,000 at the end of the year. And then I'm going to estimate for the next year and have to put out another 100. So if I saw that happening, my business blowing up into the year, I'm going to call workers' comp and say, you need to come do a preliminary audit on me. I want to start paying monthly or something. Otherwise, I'm going to have a huge chunk of change here. Okay, that was the wrong number. Sorry. That was the one before you corrected me on the other wrong number. 27. Okay. Anything else? You need to know about workers' comp, you know.
So from there,
Go ahead.
that's how you figure out how to just this one.
For this one, that's your deposit, and that goes in with your application. And then my question was, what do you have to do out here? Probably like
That's
And you have to do your payroll for it, and that's your actual number. They're never gonna look just like your estimate.
But I feel like this is a question we're not there yet.
You're not there because I'm giving you the actual numbers. But on this, do you need to do that, or are you comfortable?
Yeah.
So you're just going through the same exact process. Yeah, with the numbers that actually happen, like I said, my business blew up. I paid $800,000 to field engineers, right? So also my numbers, you're gonna multiply those by the same numbers, you're gonna have a huge number out here. You're gonna have to get even with them, and then you're gonna have to estimate based on your new, data points for the next year. Okay, what else? Go ahead. There could be. Sure. So piece rate, if you recall, is when somebody is paid. Oh my, that went quick. Piece rate, if you recall, is when you pay somebody per something they've assessed or audited or manufactured or produced or cleaned or shucked or whatever. So let's just say for ease of my brain hurt on that last example, let's just say that I crate strawberries and I get paid, 40 cents a crate, and I paid weekly. Maybe we'll turn this into like a comprehensive one. And I want you to use, do you know the difference when I say method A and method B?
When you figure the premium or something.
Yeah, method A, you get paid 0.5 for anything over the 40 hours, right? Or 0.5 extra, excuse me, the premium. And in the other one, you get paid one rate for what you made in the first 40 hours, and another rate for what you get paid, what you made over 40 hours. Right, so one's based on hours and one's based on units. So let me see, so 4,000 would give me way too big of a paycheck. 2,000 would give me a decent paycheck. So I loaded, packed, and I, of that, then, so I want you to do gross for method A and method B. And then for A, I want you to do his whole paycheck. I'm not gonna have you do California tax. And, highest in the nation though. 9% for state, highest bracket for state income tax. And for fit, he's, single with 2. So you only have to do the whole paycheck up for A. Okay, so let me just give this all to you again. So here we are. I packed strawberry crates, and I worked 42 and a half hours this week. And during that 42 and a half hours, I packed 2,080 crates. I get paid 40 cents a crate. I'm paid weekly. My W-4 says I'm single with 2. Of the 2,080 crates that I packed 1,965 of them in the first 40 hours. So there's 2 different ways to figure out piece rate gross, method A and method B. Method A, you use the overtime premium, that tack on 0.5, right? In method B, they get paid a different rate for what they did in the first 40 hours and those that they produced in overtime. So I want you to find the gross for both of those, and then under method A, run his full paycheck out. Of course, you're assuming he didn't cap. Is that more than you bargained for, Carlos?
I have a PowerPoint.
Okay. So that might be another thing, things you really know you struggle with, you wanna know, like, I go right to PowerPoint, slideshow number 3, slide 62, you know, for stuff like you really struggle with, that might be a good key to have in the front of your test.
Is there a cool story behind that tattoo?
Oh, it's Om, um, that's a Sanskrit. I was gonna say Swahili, that's not right. Sanskrit.
Test back. Tuesday. Thought I gave you sort of something, but it's
Oh.
still in my book bag.
Oh, I haven't even looked at them yet, that's fine. Okay, great, thanks. Carlos, don't leave without me giving you your resume back. No, I said, don't leave without me giving it to you back. Hey, is this tricky? First thing we do is let's figure out how much do they make on the whole. $832. Here's where 90% of you go wrong on this one. What do you divide by to figure out hourly wage? What do I divide that number by to get my hourly wage? So I multiplied the crates by the rate to get the total. What do I divide by now? Yeah, how many hours? Yes, you've got to divide by the whole 42.5 hours. Okay, great. So he's making $19.58 an hour. That's about right, too. About what a laborer makes in California. What's the problem then? What do you have to do now? He's making minimum wage, so what's my issue? Yeah, so what do I do with that 1958? Do I multiply that by 1.5? I've already got the 1958 an hour. I just need to tack on the 0.5 for those last 2.5 hours, right? So 979 is my tack on. That's called an overtime premium. And I get that for the last 2.5 hours. So my gross paycheck is $832 as my base, right? Plus 2.5 hours, I get that little 0.5 premium. The paycheck. Do you see where you went wrong?
I doubled his overtime.
Huh.
I ended up with
Okay, because a lot of times when people do that, take that 1956 and multiply that by 1.5, all of it, oh, that's what you did. Yeah, so that's exactly what you did. So make sure the calculation there is to multiply that by 0.5 to just do the tack on times 0.5, yeah. Okay. $89 sounds high. I see. I'll come around. Oh, so use your wage. Yeah, wage bracket. 89.
signal.
Where'd you go, bro? I never really got that.
So will you like tell us do it today or do you
Yep. And then this one, if he made 2,080 pieces the whole time, and he made 1,965 of those the first 40 hours, he made the other 115. Right? way you do a reasonableness check is, are those numbers close? They should be within, a couple percentage points of each other. So I'll see you Thursday at 1:10. Get me your workers' comp assignment. I'll hand those back at the final. Thursday, 1:10 to 3:10 in here. So get here early, get your resources set up. You'll want the full 2 hours for the exam. Is everybody registered for next fall? McKenna, did you decide?
I registered.
You're like, I still haven't decided.
I'm just gonna go along until I wanna change the path.
Registered, but I don't see if I can.
Might as well just continue on with the A path, because that's what I came for.
AAS. So did we set you up for classes, a couple classes over there then too? I can't remember what we did. I saw so many people. Or where we left it.
I have it down. I'm definitely registered for 4, and then I'm on the wait list for 5.
Which one are you waitlisted for?
I haven't even
Okay.
checked.
Okay. But do you have classes on main campus? I just can't remember what we did. Did we start putting you in like stats and macro and all that kind of stuff?
After our accounting test.
Okay, so I'm registered for your 2 county supervisors.
Okay.
And then I'm also in 201.
That's on main campus. Mm-hmm.
But then the other one is the computer one.
Which one?
The computer
Oh, modeling. CSCI 172. Is that, are you taking that here or there?
So NC is
Mhm.
yeah, so 3 of them are in those.
Oh, great. So we didn't start you on the lower core over there. Okay. I couldn't remember what we did because you were sort of back and forth.
Yeah, I'm still kind of back and forth, but I think we're all into one where
Thanks, hon. Study hard, but don't stress.
yeah, I just need to organize my notes.
You need to organize yourself, figure out what you think's important,
Okay.
and make sure that that's very easy to get to and that you know how to get to that.
Helps. It's open notes.
Yeah, I mean, a bulk of it, 2/3 of it's going to be right out of the Montana sections.
Okay.
So if you were studying for something, I would make sure that you know what's in those sections.
Okay.
Are those the ones we just
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sounds good.
But again, do not spend time going back and looking at little minutia from chapter 2, you know what I mean? That's not my goal in a comprehensive final, it's big stuff.
Thank you.
Sure.
How are you?
So Carlos, when do you think I can get that back?
Now,
Um,
now we can stay there.
I wish they had 3,
Mm-hmm.
but I can,
Yeah,
like, slow it down.
yeah, I just.
And then, yeah.
Cool.
We're meeting at 10:30 tomorrow. She has.
Yeah, email it to me.
So I said
Great.
I could ask her earlier. So then I said,
Have a good day at work.
okay, that's good. But I don't do Yeah. Yeah, so that's fine. So Katie and I can meet earlier and then I can go to your house. Okay.
So are you graduating, Kelsey?
In the fall,
In the fall. Then what?
real estate.
Of course. What does anybody named Dwight do in Missoula?